me the reminders. Thank you. So we are going to talk about sudden loss of vision now, retinal detachment and sudden loss of vision. So these are some of the pictures that I've come across the patient would describe to you. So detached retina would look like these speckly things in their field of vision, and there's curtain coming down. Sometimes we ask patients, well, actually the screening question is, do you feel like there's a screen coming down across your field of vision? Do you have loss of floaters that suddenly got multiplied in hundreds instead of just a handful they used to have? And this is what we see. If you put the fundoscopy and ophthalmoscope to their eye, you'll see this flimsy material that's the retina that was once attached to the sclera, underlying sclera, has come off and is dangling in the vitreous like this. So it's really important to get these patients seen. And the key question is your central vision affected? So is this patient does this patient have a retinal detachment that's affecting the macula? That's the main question that you have to ask, because the priority is to save the macula. So anyone with macula on, we get on and do the vitreal surgery as soon as possible. If the macula is off and their central vision is down, then we prioritize them to have it a bit later. So it's important to send the referral on, but be mindful this patient may come back to you and say, oh, they didn't do the surgery for me, and that will be the reason. The surgery will be delayed if the macula is off and it's been off for a while and it's a chronic condition, or the whole retina has come off. The prognosis is poor. So time is of the essence. If the central vision is still very good, but the peripheral vision is the curtain coming down, you want to send them on to in our way. So next, so before I go on to central retinal artery occlusion, does anyone have any question about retinal detachment and the screening questions? Sometimes we call them retinal detachment warning questions.
Can I quickly ask a question to you?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's more related to the local services as well.
Yeah.
If we see a patient with floaters and flashes, so I would have thought it's an urgent referral. So we refer on paper as an email, and the patient is contacted by St. George's Hospital the same day, which seems to be fine. But lately I've seen that many patients are being sent to the optician if they've got floaters and plus or minus flashes. So I don't know what's the reason, or if you have got anything to comment upon that.
Yeah, that's more service provision, because we've seen, because of it's like a after effect of the COVID, because we're so inundated in our urgent care and ophthalmology eye emergency units, we are using our optician colleague to the max and asking them to help us with some of these flashes and floaters, because some of these flashes and floaters could be just vitreous detachment rather than retinal detachment. And they have access to, all opticians will have access to slit lamp and the lenses, and we have very good training of our opticians, so they can do the first line of triage that you guys won't be able to do because you don't have access to the slit lamp and the lenses. So if you see that would be why, because of the demand on the service, we are using more and more the community opticians.
I'm just mindful of the timing, because if they are sent back to the optician, how soon the patient can see the optician, and medical legally, how much we are safe in that situation, or should I send directly to the A&E, which is much easier for me, to be honest.
Yeah, it is much easier. What would advise or encourage you to do is phone through and talk to the registrar on call, and say that I'm worried about this patient, that they may have retinal detachment, and I think the macula is still safe and is not involved because their central vision is fine. Can I send them in? And they will give you good advice whether it's safe enough to send to optician and wait till the morning, or send the patient right there and then. Yeah.
Thanks.
Does that help?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant.
Adil, I don't know if you, I think certainly for Wandsworth Merton, we have the queues service. I'm not quite sure if it's still being stood up or if it's been stood down, as it were. And I think Sienna mentioned MEX as well. So these are opticians services that can, from my understanding, diagnose, I don't know, they can diagnose certain
put the
types
link
of diseases.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll put
yeah.
the link up.
I'm aware of these services. I mean, if the patient presents to the optician who can directly refer and manage, I think that's easier for the patient. But if I, refer to the urgent care clinic, ophthalmology, and then they are sent to the optician, I think there is some delay. I think that's what I was a bit cautious about. Yeah, you're right. I mean, these are the services available that can be handy.
Brilliant.
So what's the MEX clinic? I don't know this one. Enlighten me on the MEX clinic.
Sienna, can you enlighten us on MEX? I've never heard of MEX. Medical
Sorry,
emergency.
I was just, it's called the Minor Eye Conditions Services, and I came across it when I was working for LSL last year, because so just to reassure the last speaker, the MEX service, it's not the same as going to a routine optician like a eye check. So they state very clearly, if you follow that link, it says the type of things they can check you out for, and they're all over. Actually, they're in Wandsworth. I mean, for example, the Wimbledon, in this area, Wimbledon Specsavers, a lot of the Specsavers seem to offer the services. And they're specially funded appointments, which allow this kind of screening for something that I would normally send to eye casualty, but it's one step before. So literally to save your services a bit to,
Oh,
very
brilliant.
good.
That's really good. Yeah. Sorry,
Sienna,
go ahead.
do you refer directly to the optician then? So for example, Specsavers, or how
it's
are they self-referrals?
It's a self-referral. So I booked one myself in when I got flashers and flashing lights and floaters in clinic one day, and I found out about it, and they saw me the same day or the next day. So they've got special appointments outside the eye checks, and they do the slit lamp examination, but they don't do your usual what do you call it? Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, government funds these clinics, or that the
I believe so. So if you, that's why I was on a different screen just now, just looking that up. I think that link that I put there just kind of gives an overview. On the chat, I've put a link.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Would
Brilliant.
Would it be the ICBs now? CCGs, ICBs, ICSs? I suspect it would be coming locally more. I think it's a locally sourced initiative from my understanding. I might be completely wrong, Sienna. You can correct me.
I don't know, the language is different in different boroughs, but I just searched up MEX, and that's what I got. I got the exact service there. I have no idea.
Brilliant.
So I think quickly. Oh yeah, how many minutes? 2 minutes, is it?
Sorry, we've just got 5 minutes more. We've got Sophia as well.
Okay,
do you want to ask a question?
Hi, thank you very much. Thanks for the informative talk, really. I really appreciate it. I was just going to ask, for the retinal detachment, you have mentioned that the most important thing to assess is that somebody has still got the central vision. Yeah. How do we assess that in primary care? What sort of questions, or is it a visual field? I mean, how do we do that before we refer? Because many patients come with this sort of the curtain falling sort of symptom, and especially I've seen a young guy who was playing squash, and the squash ball hit his eye, and after that he developed such symptoms. So I just sent him to A&E, really.
Yes, that's the right thing to do.
So I'm just wondering, how do you assess the central vision?
Yes, so first, what you could do, if you don't have access to the vision chart in your clinic, it's easily found on Google. So you can Google any of the vision chart, handheld vision chart on your smartphone, and get them to cover the good eye and have a look where they can read from even a meter where you hold the phone, and to see the central vision. Is there any central vision? So if the macula is off, they won't be able to read down the chart. So they will probably start just saying, I can see counting fingers, for example. So it's really important to just check whether they're using their central vision and whether they're comparing to the other eye, the good eye, to see if there's any degree of macular function at all in the eye that's affected. And the other screening question to go through is the curtain coming down, which you've mentioned already, and also the increase in floaters. So if the floaters, some people say, I usually get floaters when I look at the bright light, but it just suddenly got really, really multiplied by hundreds, and there's hundreds of floaters everywhere. That's a telltale sign of there's blood in the vitreous, and that's what the floaters are doing. And they suddenly they're multiplied because the blood pigments have come through a tear where the retinal detachment is occurring, and they've gone into the vitreous and they're floating around. And that's the key question you should ask.
Okay, thank you very much.
And MEX is free for patients. Brilliant. Okay, that's good to know, Sienna. Thank you.
I think Zara asked about the screening question as well. Does that answer your question in terms of retinal detachment screening questions? Has that covered that?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Zara. Yeah, that was a question from you, wasn't it? So we've got probably 2 minutes to cover so many things. We can have part 2 if you like, because I'm only halfway through. We can have a breather because I've given you so many questions and so many things and topics to think about. So I don't think I'll do justice rushing through everything in the next 2 minutes. I'm almost halfway through. Does that sound all right with everyone? Or
so Tina, we can do a part 2.
Yeah, is that okay?
There you go. Sienna read my mind. Yeah, we can do a part 2 because I think this has become a really, really interesting session. I think it's brilliant, to be honest, and I wouldn't want anyone to rush through this, but I'm just mindful that a lot of us have got kids to put to sleep and stuff.
Exactly. My one's still upstairs not brushing his teeth, so yeah. I understand. Yeah, we could do that.
Let's go for part 2, inshallah.
Yeah.
And we've had a fantastic turnout. Is this going to be a natural break then at this stage, and then could we just reserve everything else onwards? So does anyone have any further questions at this moment in time at all for Tina?
Yeah, just
and then we can
quick question or 2, and then we can wrap up and touch base later. Is there anything else?
That's great.
Oh, poor Zara, your 3-year-old throwing tantrum. Hope you're all right with that.
Rizia, are we allowed to invite? Am I allowed to share this more broadly?
Yes, of course.
Oh gosh, yes.
A close-knit community of us, or
no. Just share it as much as you like, because I love sharing the knowledge I have, and some of the things that you guys do are amazing, but having a little helping hand with the eyes would be really helpful, I think.
Okay, that's amazing. Brilliant. Thank you.
Tina, fantastic. I mean, what we can do is that if we can set up another one and another part 2 for another hour and a half, and I think just generate questions as we go along, so that would be great. And if everyone's okay with that, inshallah, can we just say a big thank you to Tina for today's session. Inshallah, we await eagerly for the next session, inshallah. And thank you so much for actually being so proactive and actually getting us started on our CPD as well. That would be it will be fantastic to see you next time around as well. And you've put so much work and effort into this, so a big thank you to you. Big jazakallah khair to you. Thank you.
You're very
so
welcome. Much. Thank you,
Tina. I'll leave you to say the final words before we go, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rizvia. You've set up this talk for me, and I've got to meet some of you by face, which is lovely because we've been texting for a few months now, isn't it? I've been on the chat, so it's great. Thank you for the great turnout. I know it's 8:30-ish or past that, so thanks very much for all your contribution. It's really useful actually to know where you guys are and what kind of help I can offer you. That's brilliant. So I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Okay. All right. You take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.